Let's go back to the Uber story. The News of Transport for London has ruled that it will not reissue a private hire operator licence to the car hire app company after the expiry of its current licence on the 30th of September. That's next Saturday. The company, though, is appealing and will be running during that appeal. We can talk now to Andrew Teacher, who's the Managing Director at Blackstock PR, which advises corporate clients on consumer and media relations. Andrew, thank you very much for joining us. We've heard, as I was saying to our business presenter, Jamie Robertson, a very robust statement from TfL and an equally robust response from Uber. What do you think is going to happen next in this dispute, because clearly relations between the two haven't been easy for a while?
No, I mean, it's an astonishing corporate attack on, an astonishing attack on Uber's corporate values, really, that we're seeing today. But this hasn't just appeared overnight. This has been a long time coming, and as you referred to earlier on, there have been a number of gripes around Uber's reputation, its conduct, various allegations of activity that doesn't present them in the best light. And I think there's three considerations that come out of this. Clearly, this is going to go to court, and it's going to probably go back and forth for a while. But this is going to massively affect consumer choice in London. 3.5 million people use Uber. The livelihoods of around 40,000 people depend on it. And the reality is that people have become quite hooked on the cheap taxi rides that Uber offers. But, you know, the cynics and critics would argue that this is at the expense of quality and at the expense of fairness, because in order to get the massively cheap fares that you can get at quiet times, what you're doing is you're just creating masses of inefficiency by having loads of drivers hanging around the streets, clogging up the roads, and these drivers are technically on 0 hours contracts, getting paid not a lot of money, and that is what critics have also laid into, as well as the issues around safety and criminality highlighted in what TfL has said today.
Yes, obviously the issue of corporate responsibility is a hugely important one, and you say this is an astonishing attack on Uber's corporate values, but when you look at the list of concerns that TfL has, clearly these are concerns that have to be addressed, like the approach to Uber's approach to the criminal background checks that it does on would-be drivers, its approach to reporting serious criminal offences. Now, Uber has a response to all of these, but would you agree that this is the right path for TfL to go down? Given that it has been under threat from some unions and taxi firms saying that they would take TfL to court if it granted Uber a renewal of its private hire licence.
Well, there's obviously a lot of background lobbying that's been going on by both sides, and I think other people would also question here whether this decision by TfL, which is essentially overseen by Sadiq Khan, the Labour Mayor of London, some would see that potentially as a political stab at a former jousting partner, George Osborne, the former Conservative Chancellor, who now edits the London Evening Standard newspaper. Now, Osborne has been an advisor to BlackRock, the major global asset management firm, which is a huge investor in Uber. And some will potentially be questioning today whether the Labour mayor's decision to effectively ban Uber is a bit of a poke at his former political rival, and I think it would be interesting to see what the Standard comes out with in its editions this afternoon in London. But to answer your question, TfL to some degree is damned if it does and damned if it doesn't, because if at some point there is a serious assault, there is a serious criminal issue that occurs, people will be asking questions around why it hasn't tightened regulation. But I think what Uber needs to focus on doing now is being more transparent, engaging its consumer base, and robustly answering these questions. And if it can do that, then there won't be TfL won't have much of a leg to stand on in continuing with the ban.
We must leave it there. Andrew Teacher, Managing Director at Blackstock, thank you very much.
Thank you.
One of Britain's